My name is LV, and I'm speaking my mind. Today, I'm speaking from the heart, because what happened in Minneapolis this week matters. And not just for Minnesota. A 37-year-old woman, Renee Nicole Good, was shot and killed by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent during a federal enforcement operation in South Minneapolis. Her mother described her as an amazing human being, loving, compassionate, someone who cared for people her whole life. That is not the story of a threat. That is the story of someone whose life was cut short in an encounter with force. This is real life, not some abstract statistic. Federal officials are calling this case of self-defense, saying she tried to run over ICE officers and weaponize her vehicle, labeling it as an act of domestic terrorism. But local authorities, including Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, have flatly rejected that narrative. He said the idea that this was justified self-defense is BS, and that video evidence does not support the federal account. The Minnesota police chief have also noted there's nothing to suggest she was the target of an investigation, which raises a heavy question. Why was deadly force even considered? Governor Tim Walz has called this shooting totally predictable, totally avoidable. He slammed the federal operation as chaotic, uncoordinated with local authorities and not making the community safer. He reminded Minnesotans, and frankly all Americans, not to believe the federal propaganda machine and promised a full, fair, and expeditious investigation to get accountability and justice. Look, this isn't just about one city, one woman, one set of conflicting reports. This is about what America has become when we start treating our own citizens and our own residents like enemies of the state. It breaks my heart because we have people with families, dreams, futures, caught in the middle of a politically driven, heavily militarized federal operations. When our own government treats its neighbors like dangerous agents, like obstacles to be removed, that's not safety, that's fear. Now, some will dig in and defend the narrative that it was justified, that force was necessary, that federal agents are under attack, that this is law and order. But if we do not demand accountability when force is clearly misused, we slide further from the rule of law and closer to internal conflict. What if, instead of spending billions on internal enforcement tactics that tear communities apart, that we invested energy into real priorities of the American people, like healthcare access for all, improving schools and job opportunities, infrastructure that actually serves the community, real immigration reform that protects borders and human dignity. Let's stop chasing imagined internal enemies and start tackling the very real problems that affect everyday people. Rising costs, stagnant wages, community safety that doesn't rely on fear. We don't need an internal war. We need a unified America that uplifts its citizens and treats every life with dignity. Renee Good was someone's daughter, someone's partner, someone's friend. She deserved life. And even if investigations ultimately find different motives or interpretations, we must demand transparency, justice, and restraint from those wielding force in our communities. Because whenever people try to do good, whenever decent intentions meet heavy, militarized actions, some will do whatever they can to prevent good from coming full circle. So let this be a call not to more division, but to more clarity, more cross-American unity, and more focus on what we came together to build in the first place. We do not need an internal war. We need justice. We need accountability. And we need to do the work that really makes America safer for everyone. My name is LV, and I have spoken my mind.